Hey guys, what is up? What is up to all of you? Oh, okay, so I am. What the hell's my username again? Let's see this. Some games Big Bronze. So this is totally Big Bronze. Totally Big Bronze. And in serious though, I'm doing a series, so I'm gonna just read off Wattpad books. Today we're doing, well, we're starting with this one. It's only 15 parts. I'm not going to read the entire thing in one sitting, though, obviously, because, I actually want to get the most reviews, if you know what I mean. No, so I need, they have to be below 15 minutes, too. Probably going to read the first 3 parts. Maybe even just the first part. It all depends. Might do the first 2 parts, actually. Might probably just gonna do the first part. And I'll probably just do the first part and then make this a whole big series. I don't know. All I know is that we are going to start reading. Oh, that's an author's note. We ain't gonna do anything with the author's note. How long is this chapter? It's really not that long. And honestly, this thing's really probably gonna be really short now I think about it. Well, I'll probably read like a good chunk of it then, I guess. Let's find out. Emily sat in her last class of the day and waited for the bell to ring. Emily, being quite impatient and fidgety, could not wait for the 3 o'clock bell to ring. While she was waiting for the bell to ring, Mr. Reed droned on and on about China's air pollution. She started counting seconds until the sound of a shrill bell interrupted her counting. Emily jumped out of her seat and grabbed her sapphire blue backpack and headed out the door to find her best friend, Maheen. Maheen was at her locker, number 209, putting her unneeded schoolbooks away. Emily came up behind her and asked, "Hey, what are you doing tonight? I thought maybe we could go see that new movie. It's called Scarlet." Emily waited a couple of minutes, wondering why her best friend would be ignoring her. Emily asked in a concerned tone, "What's up? I thought you loved seeing those action movies." She waved her hand in front of Maheen a couple of times before Maheen shook her head out of her thoughts. Maheen said, "Oh, sorry, Emily. I was in one of those trances I get." Then she lowered her voice to a whisper. "You know, when I have that weird trance about you looking up at the sky and seeing a massive black dragon coming down to carry you away." Emily then raised her voice a little higher than her friend was talking, and she said, "What do you think it means, since it's been returning to you every day this week?" Maheen and Emily walked by the dining hall when someone came up and hugged them from behind. They heard a familiar voice say, Hey guys, what's new?" It took a minute or two for Emily to snap out of her thoughts and to realize that the familiar voice belonged to White. He said a little bit. He said a little bit too loudly, "Guys, I think my dad is taking me to the familiar event this weekend." Maheen and Emily shushed him at the same time. Emily said, "I wish I could go, but my parents won't let me till they know I'm ready to start familiar training." Maheen signed and said, "I can't go. I can't go until I'm ungrounded." Maheen hadn't gotten grounded because she went to a party with White and didn't tell her parents that they were drinking at that party. Parents were very overprotective and did not, under any circumstances, want to expose her to anything negatively influencing. She had been grounded for several days. Oh, she did get grounded. Okay, I was like, wait, what? Huh? Then why the fuck did she get grounded? Later, Emily was snuggled in her comfy bed and Snapchatting her friends. She heard a thunderous crash down below her room. Wide-eyed, Emily got up and went down the stairs to see what had made that crash. She called for her mom, but she heard no reply. Since her dad was at work, she didn't bother calling out for him. Her dad worked night shifts as a nurse. The night shifts were often long. Sometimes he didn't get home till noon the next day. She looked through the window but didn't see either of her parents' cars. She heard the crash again. This time it was louder and it sounded as if it was by the kitchen. Cautiously creeping across the landing, Emily went to check it out. Now in the kitchen, she studied the suspicious area over by the dining table by the curtain-covered window. She could not believe what she was looking at. On the kitchen counter, there was a little midnight black figure. Looking closer than before, the lump-shaped figure with sharp menacing claws and a large snout with just as sharp fangs. The baby dragon, only a few minutes old, locked its gray eyes on hers, only a shade lighter. Breaking the stare, the baby dragon darted under the dining table. Emily was so surprised as she saw a real live dragon. She fainted. Ooh, right. Maybe I put it in 3 parts then. Yeah, probably. That was actually pretty good. When Emily came to her senses, she was on the couch. Her mom had come home while she was passed out and put her on the couch. The first thing Emily did was try to get up. When she was on her feet, she fell over to the floor. She clearly didn't have her balance back yet. She groaned and yelled for her mom. When her mom entered the room, she asked, How are you feeling? You look like you just saw a ghost, Emily. Her mother started to stroke her hair back and away from her face. Emily said, I just saw a dragon. Her mom sighed and said, Well, I guess you should tell I guess I should tell you that dragons exist and I'm an egg hatcher. I keep them in the basement, but it looks like one escaped. What? Emily suddenly had so many questions. You couldn't keep them from her mouth. Yes. What's an egg hatcher? How come there's anything about dragons? What color can they be? Is that why let me get a familiar? Her mom laughed before replying. I didn't tell you about rare familiars because I wanted to teach you about egg hatching first. The only rare familiar breed that comes from an egg is a dragon. An egg hatcher is someone who hatches dragon eggs for a living. Dragons can be all kinds of colors, but black is the rarest and also the most special gifts are given to the black dragons. I want you to pick a dragon egg from the basement to be your familiar. She's saying this casually. What the hell? Okay. Emily took a couple of minutes before jumping up and asking, Please, Mom. Pretty please, can I pick one out right now? Her mom sighed and said yes. She picked up the little black dragon who was trying so hard to open the bag of chips on the table. It protested at first, but eventually submitted to her mother's will. Emily followed her mother down to the basement. Instead of regular white lights, red-colored lights hung from the low ceiling. There were rows and rows of multicolored eggs, some being blue or green or yellow or gold or silver, all kinds of colors. In the back corner, there was a little pen set up for new baby dragons. Her mom lightly placed the black dragon down. They began to play fighting with the other baby dragons in the pen. Her mom broke the silence by saying, Now I want you to clear your mind, sweetheart. Emily began clearing her mind of any stray thought. Her mom continued, Close your eyes and walk slowly towards the egg that you feel like you're the strongest bond with. A couple of times she stopped by an egg that she thought was calling out to her, but there was a stronger urge to walk to the little dragon pen. Emily opened her eyes and said, I feel like this dragon is calling out to me. Her mom said, All right, it seems like you two bonded when you first met in the kitchen. Emily felt a tongue in her mind and she said out loud, Hello? Who's tugging me? Who's mine tugging me? After she figured out it was a little black dragon who was trying to communicate with her, she learned that his name was Nightwalker. Emily set Nightwalker on her shoulder and exited the basement with her mother in tow. When she glanced at the kitchen's clock, it was well past 1 in the morning. Emily called out to her mother, who had gone to check if Emily's father was home yet. Emily yelled, Night, Mom! She then walked up to her room and closed the door. Nightwalker found her room very cozy. He would lie down in one spot, but think there was a softer spot across the room. He spent 10 or so minutes doing that. After he got cozy, Emily turned out her lights. After he got cozy, Emily turned out her lights and got into her warm, cozy bed. Emily awoke to her alarm blaring in her ear. She got up and threw some decent-looking clothes on and straightened her hair. This Nightwalker hadn't gotten up yet. She placed them in her backpack carefully. She grabbed the bagel and ran out the door. She hopped in her little red bug and drove to school. After she parked her car, she headed to White's locker. White was just pulling out some binders and stuffing them into his black and white checkered patterned backpack. Emily said good morning when she was a couple paces away. He sighed and said, Morning. Emily's still trying to get him to talk, she said. We want to do something this weekend? We could check out some cool places like that new maze place we were raving about last Wednesday. White turned away from her and said, My dad told me last night that we couldn't go to the familiar event till it came to town. But they stopped their tour to pick up some animals and they won't be here till next weekend. If I could go during fourth period, I'd make it to the show. Emily suddenly said, I'll take you. White's face totally changed and he hugged her and said, Oh, thank you, Emily. You have no idea how much this means to me. They arrived at the show and White looked at all the familiars before deciding that the little black cat and the cat pen would be his. Suddenly a griffin got out of his cage and before anyone could stop it, it bonded with Wyatt. The griffin began snuggling up to Wyatt, who was still stunned that a rare animal would want to bond with him. As they walked out of the show, Nightwalker popped out Emily's bag and settled onto her shoulder. Wyatt, noticing the black sign, said, Oh my god, you got a dragon familiar? When did this happen? Emily reluctantly told him how she came across Nightwalker in the kitchen and how she passed out due to the fact that he was a real live dragon. Holy moly, I can probably get through chapter 3 in this video. And this is pretty good, not gonna lie. How can I get to chapter 3? Yeah, I definitely can. Okay. If I'm quick, I can get to chapter 3. That's pretty much it. Emily sat at the table trying to do her homework, but her mind kept wandering back to the recent events. She wondered why her parents had kept the dragon eggs a secret from her. Emily was just thinking about it when Wyatt bonded with the griffin. A ring from her phone interrupted her thought. Emily answered her phone. Maheen was ranting on the other line about something chasing her. Emily asked frantically, Maheen, where are you? I'll come get you, she replied in a whisper. Oh, that was not a whisper. I'm in an alley off of Peak Road. Emily grabbed her keys and left a note saying she would be back. She hopped into her car and headed towards Peak Road. When she found Maheen, she was trying to blend in with some boxes at a dumpster. Maheen said, Those guys are chasing me. They said they wanted you because you're the Princess of Dragons. I sent them on the false trail. They won't know until they're out of town. Emily said, How am I a prince? Emily said, How am I a princess? My parents are regular people. Well, mostly. Maheen said, Do you have a star birthmark on your upper right arm? Emily gasped and said, How do you know about that? No one knows that. Only my parents and I know that. Maheen replied, They said everyone in the royal dragon family has it. Suddenly, 2 men came out of shadows and knocked Emily and Maheen out. Emily's world went dark. She couldn't move. It felt like she was trapped in a void of darkness. When she finally regained consciousness, she was in the back of a moving van. From what she could tell, Emily was in the corner of the van. She began to examine the interior of the van. Emily could just barely make out another shape on the right side of her. She guessed it was Maheen. Emily half crawled and half dragged herself over to Maheen. She gently tapped her shoulder at first. After a couple of minutes, and Maheen was still not whispering to shake her quite fiercely. When Maheen awoke, she was quite confused because she was being jostled around in a dark van. She realized it was Emily who was trying to wake her up. Maheen opened her mouth to see but her voice wouldn't work. Finally, Emily stopped shaking her. Maheen regained her voice and got some bearings of the van. Maheen said, I thought you left. I'm so sorry. It's all my fault. I just want to get a familiar. I shouldn't have sneaked out of the house. Shh, Emily comforted her. She added after a minute or two. It's not your fault, Maheen. You just want a familiar. White tried calling Emily, but her phone went straight to voicemail. She always picked up the phone when he called her. He started to worry, so he called for his griffin, Sunchaser. He jumped on the griffin's back. The griffin took off at the speed of light. Wyatt had a pretty hard time steering Sunchaser. He just nearly made it into one piece to Emily's house. He dismounted the Sunchaser and went to knock on the door. Followed him, so close he almost stepped on Wyatt's feet. Emily's mom answered the door. Hello, Wyatt. Hello, Wyatt. White said, Do you know where Emily is? You're not answering her phone. Her mom thought for a minute and then replied, She went to pick up Maheen from an alley on Peak Road. She should be back by now, though. White turned away without thanking Emily's mom, but she was not done. She called after him. If you see her, let me know. He mounted Sunchaser again and they took off towards Peak Road. When he arrived at the alleyway, he inspected every inch for a sign that Emily Maheen had been there. He found some green mushed up gum and a coffee mug to send him crazy for, and Maheen's care clip. Why Ainsley knew the haircut was Maheen's. He loved flowers, but most of the good flower picture Hammer had given to her. There was no way Maheen would leave that behind. He came to the conclusion it had been taken. Emily passed her again. No.